Good afternoon and welcome to the 12th Annual Regulators and Policymakers Retreat being organized by IPPI here at the Taj Fort Aguada Beach Resort at Goa. And with me is Mr. S.K. Srivastav, the Director General of Hydrocarbons of India. Sir, welcome to the retreat.
Thank you.
Sir, we'd briefly like you to explain to our viewers what is the role of the Director General of Hydrocarbons and give a brief overview of the oil and gas sector in India.
Thank you at first inviting me to this great conference, and I consider this conference is a synergy in energy, bringing the energy sector and power sector people together. So it has been great pleasure, and also I enjoyed the topic of my session, that environment is something that's very close to my heart. I have worked in the earlier part of my career in Assam, so I have seen the first oil field, Digbo is there. You go there, there's so much of environment protection is there that you feel as if you see these kind of things only in the Discovery Channel. It is so lovely it has been kept. Role of the Director General of Hydrocarbon is sound promotion of oil and gas resources of the country, and with environment, taking good care of environment with sound practices. So this is in a nutshell. I can explain the role of Director General of Hydrocarbons. Initially, if I give you pen sketch earlier, till almost 1990, the oil and gas sector was dominated by the government. Two oil and gas companies, Oil India Limited and ONGC, they were there on the business. Government felt that the effort were not sufficient as compared to the energy requirements of the country, and government started liberalizing the process. So in 1993, DGH was formed by the Government of India through a cabinet resolution for sound promotion of oil and gas business in the country. So this is precisely we do. Our roles and goals have really gone more, have increased on the exponential rate. In 1990, we had just 2 companies working in the country, and just 2-3 producing basins. Today, we have almost 82 companies. We have been promoting acreages for promotion of oil and gas exploration all over the world, and with that, in the last since 1999, when particularly the new exploration licensing policy was launched, only 11% of the country's area was auctioned for exploration. Today, with almost 12 or 13 years past, today with almost 8 rounds of NELP has been concluded, 9th round bidding is already over, and already about 68% of the country's area has already been awarded for exploration, where several companies are there. We have some of the biggest companies of the world working in the country: British Petroleum, ENI, Santos, British Gas, Cairn. Apart from of course the ONGC and Oil India, 2 national oil companies, of course, and Reliance SR. There are several host of companies. So this is basically monitoring of all the exploration and production activities of the country of oil and gas, and coal bed methane is DGH job, and we are also moving towards some energy sources like which are currently under the R&D state, like gas hydrates, oil shale gas, because these are also very important energy resources in many countries. Of course, gas hydrate is we have proved the presence, but production technology is a challenge. Nowhere in the world this production technology is available for gas hydrates. So we are in the tandem. We have MOUs with all the countries of the world who are doing in the research in gas hydrates, so that benefit of any research can be shared with everybody. And as I mentioned in my talk, that shale gas round we want to launch. Before that, we want to have all the policy in place, especially for extraction of shale gas with the best environment protection measures as law.
So, if you look at the last few years, now, like for example, you said the new exploration licensing policy has come about. It's made radical changes compared to the previous regime. So, what is so exciting about the oil and gas exploration sector in India that we have these new companies coming in and others taking interest?
See, there was a time in the early, say between 1991 to 1996, government try to attract companies, but unless you have some good fields, people have a perception that India was under endowed in oil and gas resources. But with the and other thing also, till 96 the policies were quite stringent. So when I say we almost 250 blocks were put on auction, and hardly about 28 blocks were awarded. So we realize probably we are not offering those kind of package to people which attracts them, because apart from oil and finding hydrocarbons, people should have good economic policies also. Everybody comes for business. So that's why NELP came, and which is considered to be one of the best policies available in the world. It is absolutely perfect leveling playing field. Everybody is equal. ONGC, Oil India, Reliance, SR, British Petroleum, British Gas, all are equal footings. Earlier there used to be compulsory government participation with the Association of National Oil Companies. That was withdrawn. International oil prices were given, arms and gas prices were given. There were a lot of fiscal benefits like custom duty waiver for oil and gas exploration, and holiday, income tax holiday, etc. These things were given. So that attracted, and also at the same time two things happened. There were discoveries, world-class discoveries in Rajasthan happened by Kane, and also in the Krishna Godavari by Reliance. Now these two and several other discoveries dispel the doubts in the mind of the people, explorationists, that yes, India was not endowed in oil and gas. India was rather underexplored. And then there are lot of areas are underexplored in the country. So then after that people started coming in, and today we have more than 82 companies in the country, including some of the biggest of the names in the world.
So can you briefly tell us, for the lay viewer, what are the challenges in the oil and gas exploration business? What are the unique features of the oil and gas exploration business that a company faces?
See, oil and gas business is traditionally a high risk business. World over, the statistics is that out of 10 exploration ventures, only one is successful.
So it's like a casino.
Is a casino, but it so happened when you make a success in the 10th, probably you recover all the money which you have lost in the 10th, and also you continuously make money for next 20-25 years. So that kind of this is the kind of business. So is a risk. One is a risk is quite high, but in India we have success rate is much better. We have almost maybe a 15% success rate in India, and also it is very high technology driven, because the oil and gas easily finding easy oil era of easy oil is gone. All the very obvious structures and all that have already been discovered. But particularly in India, what has happened, very large areas are underexplored. Entire east coast, particularly the deep water, very largely underexplored. So people have lot of, with the discoveries which have been made in the east coast by Deen Dayal, then D6, by northeast coast, Mahanadi, people have a lot of hope that yes, they will be able to make the success. That's what they bring them to India.